him to try to swim across the Atlantic or the Pacific back to Asia, from whence he came. It is a very pitiful sight. In 1959, I talked with some scholars in the Islamic world who sit and cried, tears in their eyes, over the evil, suffering condition of us in America under the hand of the white man. But they all know, as we too now know, that it's only a matter of time that Almighty God, Allah, show himself as he did in ancient time, when a government or a people, evil, exceeded all good. He did so in the day of Lot. He did so in the day of Noah. He did so at the Red Sea and the day of Moses. And now, all of these histories and examples of Almighty God, Allah's work, serves as no warnings at all to the wicked brute forces of America, because Allah has revealed them to be none other than the devils themselves. And now they are angry because the truth of them has been revealed, and seeks to destroy we whom Allah has brought the truth to. They are not able to attack him, but seeks to take revenge on us who believe as it is written, because they hate the truth. They hate the God of truth and of justice. As it is written again in the Bible, in the Revelation, that when God standeth up to range, the nation is angry. Then the wrath is come, and also the wrath of God is come. It is time for God to get angry. Look how his poor righteous people is being treated under a government and people as the Caucasian people. They have ever mistreated the Muslim. They have ever hated Allah and Islam. They never wanted Islam to cross the Atlantic and the Pacific, to get into the ears of the so-called American Negro. This is one religion that they even kept in secret among themselves to talk of. We hardly ever remember hearing them use the word Islam or Allah. They have ever tried to keep this religion, the knowledge of it, which is divine supreme being's religion, which means entire submission to the will of Almighty God Allah, which is the prophet's religion. And no man could be a believer in God unless he was a believer in Islam. Because without entire submission to the will of God, we cannot be his servants. That is the best and only religion, and the only religion that God ever had from the day that he created the universe. My beloved listeners, I preach separation of our people. Many of our people thinks it's really a mockery and a shame and a crime even as much to preach that we should be separated from the white people who has never given us justice and whose parents, their grandparents, beat and lashed our poor grandparents and great-grandparents and great-grandparents for many and many years, centuries. Our poor people fell under the lash and has lynched and burned them on the soil of America's time and again. And today, a ready policeman stands with his club and with the itching finger to shoot, beat, and kill a black so-called Negro if he just make the least act of disorderly or provoke him to anger the least bit. That's a dead man. And he's justified for killing the so-called American Negro in the courts. They always is justified and freed. And the poor 400-year-old innocent Negro still suffering without any justice, without any chance of justice, under the law and banner of the American government. As Mr. Duffy, federal court judge in Chicago on the 8th, according to the Chicago Tribune paper, making his remarks of hatred for we the Muslims, my followers and myself, that we was not even entitled to justice under the Constitution as far as religion is concerned, because we was not a religious people. We wasn't teaching religion. We was only racist and should not be given any justice under the Constitution laws. This is very terrible. This is very evil. After our parents have slaved their lives out for Judge Duffy's parents and himself, then now today he openly say to we who has turned from evil and is trying to do good, that the government should not give any justice to us, classify us as enemies trying to overthrow the white race. Yet we are not trying to overthrow the white race, but rather trying to overthrow falsehood that has come into the ears of our people and trying to replace falsehood with truth that Almighty God Allah has given to us. And if truth will overthrow the white race, Judge Duffy, I say your race is gone, because we must have truth today, regardless to the dislike of you or the whole entire Caucasian race. We must have the truth. It is time for the truth. It is time for the presence of God. It is time for the deliverance and separation of the poor old black people that you have beat and killed for many centuries. It is time that they go from you. But you are angry because it is time, and desires to keep them for none other purpose than to mistreat them. You don't intend to give the Christian believing Negro justice. You're not doing it. All those that worship your religion and yourself in the churches and bowing to you and walling themselves on the ground, their bodies begging you for justice. You're not giving them any. Not to think of we the Muslim. Of course, every Muslim that believes in Allah and believes that I am his messenger, they don't have to wallow at the feet of no nation. God is sufficient. Allah is sufficient to give us what we want. He's sufficient to give us justice. He's sufficient to defend us. We rely on him alone. Judge Duffy, haters of the Muslims, wishes to see them deprived of everything that goes for justice because of his hatred of truth. I cannot fault him. I could not say that he shouldn't do these things because Judge Duffy and his whole race, as God has said, were created to be enemies of the truth and enemies of justice. And there is no justice for us in America. No black so-called Negro country. He owns all the wealth, the property of this country. Do you think that he will be so foolish to tell you that you are his equal and then act it, carry it into practice? How can he, unless he divides the country with you? You cannot be no equal with the people that owns the country, regardless if you have a country somewhere else. Don't go in there, another man's country, and tell him to accept you as the equal over all of his goods there, and that he should act as though that you are a sharer, equal sharer in his country and in his goods as he himself who owns it. This, the American so-called Negro, must remember that he have to get away from this old ignorant thing, that I am American citizen. I am the equal of the white man. God made us equally. God didn't make you equal. There is no such a thing that God have equal in none of his creation, not even in the planets, not even in the stars, not even in the elements. This is the old story that you should get away from. There is no such thing there as equal in the creation. One is above the other one all the way through from the earth on to the sun. No such thing as equal. It would not be a beautiful universe if everything was equal. It is you now deceived, trying to tell the white man who owns the country and who has made merchandise of you and your father, I'm your brother, I'm your equal, accept me as your brother, accept me as your equal. Remember, I'm just as good as you. I have equal rights in everything that you have. You're far better by nature than he. But nevertheless, you are not in your house. You're in his house. As Jesus puts it, that you cannot take a strong man's house until you first bind that strong man. And you are not able to bind the strong man, so why destroy yourself in trying to take it? Go to your God. Turn to him. He will make a way for you. He will destroy your enemies. If anything like taking the house, he can take it and well able to do it. As I say unto you, I salam alaikum.